This college football picks week 6 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WinBet. WinBet is now live in Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, Virginia, and Arizona. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WinBet has what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a $1,000 risk-free sports bet. Download the WinBet app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Use promo code SGP on your first deposit and receive up to $500 in bonus cash. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Prediction Strike. Prediction Strike is the only performance-based sports stock market where you can buy and sell shares of professional athletes. Use promo code SGP to receive a free athlete share with your first deposit of $20 or more. We're also brought to you by Freeze Pipe. Smoking cannabis doesn't have to hurt. Freeze Pipe has a unique line of freezable pipes, bubblers, bongs, and more. Upgrade your game at thefreezepipe.com and use promo code SGP for 10% off. And of course, don't forget to download the SGPN app, your home for all of our free picks and podcasts. Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Well, Sean, is it safe to just start calling ourselves professional college football touts?
Oh yeah.
Is it okay to say that? Because I feel like we've been doing pretty well.
It is okay to say that. Joining us as always, not in studio, he's on the road. Colby Dant, aka the Dantabase. What's happening, Colby?
I'm doing great, man. College football. I just went to the Nebraska game. That was awesome to see Nebraska actually play good and hit that handicap. Tried to give away some Jameson bottles in the parking lot, and I got some reaction, but I was surprised by the amount of people in Lincoln that looked at me like I was the worst person ever for giving out alcohol.
You would think the UCLA tailgate we would have trouble moving the alcohol. The UCLA fans, they were taking those down left and right, we put down a number of shots and shotgun beers. It was a wild scene at the UCLA game. So it's shocking to hear that the Lincoln fans weren't as down to drink the cold ones as the UCLA fans.
I feel like they thought I was like selling them a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, it was probably the people in LA, maybe a little bit more trusting. The Nebraska people, they're like, oh, last time I took free liquor from a guy in a parking lot, I ended up blacked out, was tied up somewhere. I don't need that trouble.
100%, man. I mean, I feel like the people were saying, no, we're not interested in your timeshare.
Well, which is funny because I remember at the UCLA tailgate, Colby getting into that mode. We're like, hey, what's up with those people trying to steal those airplane bottles?
Yeah, we kept telling him, no, Colby, we're giving away. He goes, these guys will just keep taking the liquor. It's like, no, that's the whole reason we're here. Give out the liquor, get them to sign up for the show, check it out.
It's funny how easy it is to buy people's attention when they're young. Like in hindsight, like the credit cards we used to sign up for those free t-shirts. They were probably getting what $200 a head. Yeah, what a deal.
I didn't get kicked out for screaming too loud though, and trust me, I was screaming loud. Had some money on the game, placed a wager right before I went into the stadium. So yeah, I mean, shame on UCLA, right?
Shame on them.
Yeah, it was UCLA. That was the big takeaway from that game. The UCLA fans can't hang with the Dantabase. Man, coming off a pretty solid week. Triple lock salute. All hit our locks. I hit my bonus lock. Colby coming in at 61% overall, 43 and 27 against the spread. I'm hitting my bonus locks at 75%, regular locks 50%. Kramer with a nice lock percentage himself, 67% on the locks, 50% on the bonus locks. I'm hitting my dogs at 40%. We're making people some money in college football this season. Colby, how did you do in the 6-pack last week? Oh, 4-2. That's a problem. You're picking these random ass games, and it's dragging down my record. I feel like I'm doing good in top 25, and the other games, it's the Colby 6-pack that's really throwing a monkey wrench in here.
I tried to warn you guys that UNLV was going to cover that when I tried to look, and I love the fact they still lost the game because Vegas still not onto them. I feel like despite them being right up the road. So as the weeks prolong, you want to ride those running Rebels. I'm telling you, they're decent. They're going to keep losing probably, hopefully. But then you have what that? How about that barn burner Vanderbilt UConn? Best game of the weekend.
Oh, come on, Colby. Save the UConn handicap for when we talk about them, which of course UConn UMass made it into the Colby Dant 6-pack. All right. Let's get into it. Before we do, I want to shout out WynnBET. That's right. WynnBET, the presenting sponsor of the Sports Gambling Podcast, Sports Gambling Podcast Network. All the lines we will be using today, you can get over at wynnbet.com, WYNNBET.com. If you want a WIN, you got to do it with WYNNN. Oh man. Up to a $1,000 risk-free sports bet. Are you kidding me? Of course, you got to go check out wynnbet.com, WYNNBET.com. Before we get into the picks, obviously want to talk about the Matt Corral Heisman Trophy ticket. Considered placing it over at PropSwap.com. Considered listing it. I said plus 180. It's not going to get any better using over at PropSwap.com promo code SGP, of course. However, his price, it seems pretty similar. I'm seeing, Matt Corral, he's now down to plus 200 over at Wynn. Bryce Young, though, sliding up to plus 120. Colby, you are the owner of the Matty Corral Heisman Trophy ticket. Do you regret not selling it before the Alabama game?
Well, I mean, I feel like that we were on top of Bama winning that game. I mean, at least I was, and decisively. So, but I still think there's enough time for him to pad the stats the rest of the year. Playing, a lot of the other SEC. I mean, Texas A&M doesn't look very good. LSU still got their struggles. So he might have some opportunity to pad those stats. So I'm okay. Let's let it ride, baby. All right.
Kramer, you're still holding strong that we're going to get a better price on the Matty Corral Heisman Trophy.
Well, isn't there the angle where it's just it can't get worse? I mean, now he's going to play team. I mean, that was the bad game, right?
Yeah, that's certainly the other angle. Is that maybe he can rack up some stats. Certainly a big game, or decently, not as big as Alabama, but certainly a decent opportunity. Racks up some numbers against Arkansas, and I mean, Arkansas defense not looking amazing against Georgia, although mostly that was done on the ground. And of course, if you got a sports ticket you want to buy or sell, make sure you head over to PropSwap.com. Get the best odds in the biz. Promo code SGP. Get a up to a $500 deposit bonus. All right, let's get into the Colby Dant 6-pack. Middle Tennessee heads to. Is this Lynchburg, Virginia? Am I correct there?
You are.
Head in there, Lynchburg, Virginia. 4 square off against Liberty. Liberty minus 19.5. My bonus lock, which came in pretty easily, and Stone Labanowitz, also one of his stone cold locks, that hit as well. I mean, Malik Willis is just kind of the man. He's still interesting in the Heisman race. He's hanging around 40-1. I mean, he had 15 carries for 144 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Not to mention what he did in the air. I mean, I don't see why Liberty doesn't cruise here. Give me Liberty minus 19.5. Colby, are you riding Middle Tennessee? What are you doing here?
I'm on the Blue Raiders, man. Look, Bailey Hockman quit the team after he got benched for Chase Cunningham, and
we've all been following that drama.
But Chase Cunningham's come in and kind of lit a fire under this team. They almost won the game. The first game he came in, that what was it, the Charlotte game, where actually they kind of got screwed by the refs in that game, lost by 3. And then last week they took care of Marshall. Marshall's a good football team, guys. So I got the Blue Raiders coming into Lynchburg and keeping this game close. At least that's too many points.
Is it? Is it too many points?
What are you doing here, Kramer?
I mean, they've covered 6 straight. as a double-digit favorites. They've covered 6 straight at home. Yeah, you're getting cute, and I'm going the other way because I just out of principle. Like Sean kind of alluded to earlier. I looked at this 6-pack and I said, "Wow, what a weekend of college football!" And we had our darts all missed the fucking board. Well, give me Liberty Land.
We'll get to them when we talk top 25. TCU heads to Lubbock, Texas to square off against Texas Tech. TCU and the Horned Frogs laying 1.5. Colby, what's your lean on this game?
Well, TCU they did cover that Texas game by just what, a half a point for us. But Gary Patterson's got to get this thing back on track. Texas Tech just got a huge road win against West Virginia. I don't understand that one, but I think TCU is still the better football team here. I think Gary Patterson knows, if he's going to make a bowl, if he's going to even contend in the Big 12, this is a must-win game in my opinion. So I'm going to take the better team on paper, and that's the TCU Horned Frogs to get the win in Lubbock.
Yeah, I think I'm with you here on taking TCU. I don't like that they're a road favorite, but for me, I mean, Texas Tech, that just felt like such a, I don't know, like them pulling out that victory against West Virginia. It feels like just kind of setting up for a massive letdown spot. And this Texas Tech team, I don't know, maybe that was just an outlier game of against West Virginia, but their defense has had serious issues. And I think this is a bounce back opportunity for TCU. And again, you shouldn't always handicap like this, but if you compare how Texas Tech played Texas and how TCU played Texas, I mean, Texas won by 35 against Texas Tech. If you factor in that, I don't know. TCU laying only 1.5 feels pretty good to me.
Come on, guys. I fortunate to push. Got the early week +5. Fortunate to push with my TCU Horned Frogs. Colby, you even told us how much this game means to Patterson every year, and what a great situation to fade them coming off of it. I think this Texas Tech passing attack gives them some trouble. And at the end of the day, I love fading TCU in this spot coming off that Texas game. I do think they poured it all out for that. So letdown spot. Lubbock is a little sleepy, right? It's kind of the sleepy Texas Big 12 location. Give me Texas Tech going against Colby 2 for 2.
UConn heads to Amherst, Massachusetts, where game day will be here live at Amherst. UConn laying 3.5. Total sitting at 55. UMass, the Minutemen, a +145 dog. Colby, I think you're in love with this UConn program. I'm assuming you're taking UConn laying 3.5 here.
I am, but look, guys, you guys got we got to have a team meeting, and I feel like Bowling Green, Akron last year, UConn, UMass. We should. I should be sent there to cover these, and we should do a basically like college game day for the college football experience. For what was tickets last week for Vanderbilt UConn going at $1, going at $1.
We can afford that.
I'm going UConn though, man. Ever since they made that head coaching change, look, they were beating an SEC team. I know it's Vanderbilt up until the final seconds of the game last week in Nashville. So I think, and then the game before they took undefeated Wyoming. They missed the 2-point conversion to tie the game. I think they've shown signs of life. So give me the Huskies to get it done. And look, this is one where I think you can go heavy. I like it. I like it a lot. Give me the UConn Huskies minus the points.
Yeah, I'm with you again. I barely watch either of these teams, but just looking at the results, UMass is a team that gets their ass kicked all the time. UConn, this is UConn Super Bowl. They know they can get a win here. I'm taking them as a 3.5 point road favorite. You can't take UMass not getting more than 10 points. That is crazy to me.
2 things, Colby. Which preseason when you previewed UConn, did you take their over or under?
I took their over. This is a huge game on that.
Okay. I wanted the audience to hear that because I'm a little concerned. You're chasing those wins you need for the over.
I mean, Toledo, they lost to Toledo by 38 points.
I'd also like to apologize as I've been a little bit distracted. We are recording this during Monday Night Football, and I did just hit Donald Parham first touchdown. I am a first touchdown god. And
XFL represent.
Let me take UMass and continue my absolute fade of Colby's trash selection here. UConn, UMass, really, Colby? Come on.
This game's got to be on there. This is the most entertaining game of the weekend.
Give me the 3.5.
UMass as a home dog. The Huskies. Look out. Wisconsin heads to Champaign, Illinois. Illinois, a 9.5 point home dog. Of course, my auto fade of Graham Mertz is still locked in. Got knocked out of the Michigan game. Unfortunately for the Badgers, it sounds like he's going to be playing Saturday. I get it. They're just going to run the ball a bunch and take the ball out of his hands, but you will not do, nothing can force me to bet on Wisconsin where he still is the quarterback. And I would have actually considered maybe taking Wisconsin if we got a lower number here and it was clear the backup, aka anyone but Graham Mertz, was playing. It sounds like Graham Mertz is going to play. I'll take the 9.5. Colby, are you with me?
No, this is it, man. I mean, Wisconsin can't afford to lose this game.
Yes.
And guys, I don't know how much football you've watched of the Illini this year, but their offense is as bad as it gets, in my opinion. And Jim Leonard will. They might not need their quarterback play. They might have 2 or 3 defensive touchdowns in this game. I know Illinois currently is ranked 1 ahead of Wisconsin offensively from a yardage per game standpoint, but that's kind of an outlier because they got to play, Charlotte last week. But give me Wisconsin minus the points. This is one way. If Wisconsin loses this game, Chris might lose his job. Like, he's going to get this done. This is against Bielema. Look, I don't know if you guys remember this. Brett Bielema, first year coach at Illini, used to coach at Wisconsin, left on really bad, sour terms. So
he's going to get up for this game.
Yeah. It's a big game here. So Wisconsin handles this thing. They run away with it.
It's a big game for Bielema. That's who it's a big game for. And
home dog.
Way too many points. And what is one of the grandest betting principles of them all? Thou shalt never lay lots of points with Wisconsin away from home. I made that mistake earlier this season, and I will not sin in that way again.
Well, especially this team, they just don't seem like they travel, especially against the spread. I 9.5 just feels a little too high for me.
And all rise coaching tree. Let's go.
SMU heads to the Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, where Navy is a 13.5 point home dog, plus 410 on the money line. Colby, what are you doing here? SMU, Navy.
Well, first off, if you listen to the college football experience, I hope you enjoyed my Navy play against UCF. They were heavy dogs. And I said, sprinkle some on the money line, because this is the reality. You look at the stats. Navy's offense is good at yardage. The first couple of weeks, they weren't able to punch it in, but they were kind of an outlier. The amount of yardage they got based on the amount of points you should have for other teams getting that similar yardage. So I was all over them last week, and I'm all over them this week. I don't think Vegas has this number correct. Give me Navy in Annapolis. This offense is waking up. Niumatalolo is too good of a coach. Give me the midshipman to cover this.
And Colby is highlighting the fact that SMU not good against the run, giving up 194 yards per game, including 313 to Cincy, over 200 to Memphis and North Texas. So there is that angle. Here's the problem. We discussed this last week. Do we really want to fade a team with a guy named Tanner Mordecai? And I'm going to throw in a nickname here, General Ulysses Bentley IV. I don't think so. Yeah, sure. I didn't think I was actually going to fade Colby on all these picks, but it seems like we're landing that way. I'm laying the points with SMU. I think this SMU team is a very good team, and I don't think Navy is all that good. If they get up early, I think Navy has to stay in this game. This is maybe a live betting opportunity, because if SMU gets up early, I don't think Navy can get back in the game. So maybe you start with a small bet on SMU and you just live bet it all the way up.
Yeah,
my system likes it up to.
Well, I got in on some live action on the WinBet app with that Houston game. Houston scored. They were up 7-0, and they were you could still get them minus 2.5 or something crazy like that. And just from watching that game early on, advantage. You could just see they were just whatever it was, they were just so much better. And that was pretty easy. Didn't really have to sweat that one. I'm going SMU here, laying the big number. I know they got to deal with Navy, but I think this is kind of the perfect time to play Navy. Navy coming off a win. They're 1-5 straight up in their last 6 at home. Their one win being that kind of wonky game against UCF. UCF has a ton of issues at quarterback, and certainly not the defense that would know how to play the triple option. So SMU laying 13.5. They get it done on the road.
No, I feel like it's a tag team effort.
Talking college football here, and we're talking about College Station, Texas A&M, and the Aggies. 17.5 point home dogs, 575 on the money line against Alabama. Alabama easily took care of Ole Miss. I mean, they're only 3-2 against the spread, but man, none of these games have really felt in doubt for Alabama, even though, Florida, I guess, had some moments, but watching that game, you never thought they were really in it. Colby, does A&M have a shot here?
No. And they should have never been in the top 25 this year. In my opinion, they're not a top 50 team. This is a team that Colorado was beating for 58 minutes, and they got very lucky. If that game was probably played on a college campus in Boulder, they probably would have lost that thing. This is a team that has looked like shit all year. And I was not surprised. I was on Mississippi State last week. I was on Arkansas the week prior. And let's not forget, Jimbo Fisher called out Alabama in the offseason. So I think Saban's had this one circled. Jimbo Fisher saying, we're coming for you. This is our year to take down Bama. And I remember Saban, what did he say? What, in golf? So I think Saban's going to make a point here. And I got Bama winning big. Texas A&M's got offensive problems. They got no skill at wide receiver. The quarterback position's a mystery. Yes, they got a couple good backs and a good tight end, but that's not going to get you very far against Alabama, especially on the backup quarterback. Give me Bama big in College Station.
Well, yeah, and to me, it does seem like Ole Miss, they probably kind of had the perfect team to cover a big number against Alabama, and even they couldn't do it. They were super aggressive, going for it on 4th down a ton, which you need to do against Alabama. You have Matt Corral, you have that high-powered passing attack, and even they couldn't make it a game here. I mean, this Texas A&M team lost to Arkansas. I just don't think they're going to be able to hang with the big boys here. And yeah, their offense really hasn't been the same. I mean, they beat Colorado 10-7, and since then, the offense just they lost that quarterback there. Their offense just isn't powerful enough, even at home. Even this being their Super Bowl game, I think you got to go chalk here and take Alabama.
Dude, I don't even know if Texas A&M goes bowling this year. I mean, they better thank the Lord that they beat Colorado there, because if you look at the remaining schedule for a team that was preseason top 10, I don't know that they are going to make a bowl this year. So I know they got that tough matchup against Prairie View on November 20th, Sean, that you're really excited to watch.
Oh, I'm sure it'll make the sheet.
I mean,
Kramer?
To Colby's point about the overranking of some of these teams, 34 losses by ranked teams, most through 5 weeks all time. I mean, some of that is just teams like this just getting their ass handed to them.
Yeah.
Other fun note: Bama has had only 39 offensive snaps where they were tied this season. They've had 0 trailing, so just absolute dominance from Alabama. The only thing, I mean, to the point of, is this the Texas A&M get up game where they finally show up? They were looking ahead last week and they lost. It's now 2 losses though. Like, in a way, they're dead. They're dead in the water, and I don't know if Jimbo.
Yeah, Mississippi State game might have been the dream crusher game.
Did you know Jimbo extended through 2031? I mean, starting next year, he gets $9 million a year. This is this is a public institution. This is a land grant public institution. Taxpayers of Texas are paying for this man. You're paying for $9 million for a man named Jimbo to take your football team down into the shitter. I just 96% of the money on Alabama early in the week. Obviously, who's betting Texas A&M? That's the concern. This is Tampa Bay -6.5, -7 versus New England, because this is the app. What are they looking ahead against Mississippi State? I just don't see it. Saban rolls. He makes the point, like Colby says, he wants Saban got pissed off when Jimbo talked that shit.
No, yeah, he's a petty man. He's got a list.
If you're a lieutenant, you don't step out of line and say something about the Godfather.
No,
Bama
you do
rolls.
not do that.
There's going to be some fucking horse heads and fish and all sorts of dead animals.
Got the top 25 games coming up, but before we do, time for a little smoke break. That's right, Ryan. We have an official bong here at the Sports Gambling Podcast. New sponsor. It's called the Freeze Pipe.
Wow,
pretty awesome. And basically, if you're a weed smoker, bong smoker, whatever you.
Smoking my weed. Hey, you see this thing, Colby?
Yeah, beautiful. That is a very nice glass piece. They hooked us up with one. It's pretty cool. You put it in the freezer, and so it's basically you freeze that little chamber. It's glycerin, and it's frozen, and then the smoke goes through it, instantly cooled by over 300 degrees. That is a smooth bong hit or a pipe hit, whatever you want.
It's genius.
It really is. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was at Penn State making some bongs, and you would fill up your bong with ice. But now, oh man, the future is here, and it's over at thefreezepipe.com. Use that promo code SGP, 10% off your order. That's right, thefreezepipe.com. And they sent over the copy, Ryan, and it just says example ad read. Weed is awesome. Couldn't agree more, but you don't want to burn your throat and your lungs. Get the Freeze Pipe, baby. So stone cold.
It's a really nice. My mind is always blown when you have like glass inside a glass.
Yes, it's next level, right? It's space age technology.
As our buddy's stepdad used to say, this is very much an adult product.
Yes, whenever we hang out with him, he goes, "All right, time for the grown-up weed," and that's when you know things were about to get serious. Oklahoma heads to Dallas, Texas for the Red River Handshake. Oklahoma laying 3, Texas plus 140. Man, I keep going back and forth here, and this is a neutral field. I keep going back and forth here because I'm on one hand wanting to fade Oklahoma because they keep saying, "Oh, this is going to be Rattler's game. Come on, this is going to be the breakout game. They get the offense figured out." But then you really want to bet on Texas?
No,
Colby, what are we doing here?
I'm on the Longhorns, man, and I think ever since they made that quarterback switch from Hudson Card, the freshman, to Casey Thompson, they've looked a lot better. Oklahoma, I'm still not buying it.
Really?
Yeah, they keep barely winning these games, and it's gonna catch them at some point. Give me Texas in the 3.5 here.
It is at 3. It is at 3. It moved from 3.5 to 3 over at WinBet. Kramer, what do you got? Are you going Texas? I mean, I don't really want to get down on either of these teams. It's a great game. What are you doing?
It's hard for it. I think there's obvious value on Oklahoma. I don't know what this number was preseason, but I got to imagine it was much closer to 7, if not 7. I think we've seen a Texas team. This is still Sark, and it still relies on one player. And if talk about a dark horse Heisman candidate. 35-1 for Bijan Robinson is interesting in a time where we might not have a standout quarterback. Like I know Bryce Young is fun, but is he really the standout guy if we have a running back do all sorts of crazy shit, which it looks like he could do? I just can't. I'm not. This is Sark in now a big moment. This is Sark now in the moment for Texas, right? Like this is one of the games, and I'm certainly not going to. What do you think he's doing to prepare for this? Hanging out with boosters, throwing a couple back, not focused like our guy Lincoln Riley is. Let's lay the point. Surprised that Colby is going against his guy Lincoln Riley. This Oklahoma team has not been performing up to the status they should be, but they are still taking care of business. I think they finally get the cover this week with a very discounted number.
And I know Stone. His angle on Oklahoma covering last week was that, they've heard the talk, they've heard the chatter, this is, and he believed in Rattler. He still believes in Rattler, but he thought this was the game they're going to put it on K-State, really rack up the score, get him back in the Heisman mix. Didn't really do that. And Kansas State ended up backdoor covering with a kickoff return for a touchdown, kind of a crazy finish to that game and the spread. But I think maybe this is the game where Lincoln Riley really throws the kitchen sink at Texas. And I'm with you. I'm going to go Oklahoma -2.
Not a totals guy, but seems like the kind of game that may go under. Oklahoma pretty good stopping the run, the best that Texas has seen, I think. So that could be an element in this game.
Yeah, and I know it's sitting at 63.5, but I could see it being like a 28-21 game, 28-24, something like that.
Additional note on the previous game too, 51.5 for Alabama, Texas A&M, another under game. I think. You know, I'm a totals guy too. First touchdowns and totals.
Arkansas heads to Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss laying 6.5. Arkansas, sweet, plus 200 on the money line, coming back the other way. Both these teams coming off losses. Ole Miss loss, not as bad. They kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what you would call their performance against Alabama. They didn't cover, but they certainly looked more competent than Arkansas. How can I pick a team that lost by 37 points to a team starting Stetson Bennett? How could I take?
You can't. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems like Colby. Can I ask you if you're in favor of this? New rule for college football: if you lose by 35 points, 5 touchdowns, you get a 1-week suspension from the top 25 rankings, which means you can't be there. You can't be ranked. You have to be left off the ballot, because I don't buy. Like, I understand Georgia, Alabama, they're really good. They're the best 2 teams in the country. But I don't buy any kind of bullshit that you deserve to be in the top 25 if you're going to get their ass beat that badly. And for the SEC people out there that get all like, oh, someone replied to me on Twitter, said Cincinnati wouldn't go 500 in the SEC East. The SEC East has a team like I just don't get it. You hear people talk about it as if it's like, oh yeah, no, they lost to they lost to Alabama. They're a good team. They lost to Georgia. They're a good team still. What do you mean? You're not a good team.
Yeah.
Tom Brady doesn't lose by 5 touchdowns. God, you're not a good team if you don't show up. And that was what Arkansas did. What concerns me is I feel like Arkansas's defense is tailor-made to slow down Ole Miss. And I think we just going back to some principles. It's tough to lay this many. It's tough to lay points with Ole Miss, period. And I think if I'm going to take one team like Ole Miss, they gave a good effort last week. I think Georgia just absolutely whooped the shit out of Arkansas, because Georgia might just be the best team in the country. So I am actually going to take Arkansas here. I think Ole Miss is going to struggle to find explosive plays. This is going to be a lower scoring game. And I think Arkansas will do to Ole Miss what they did to Texas, and they're a live dog.
Yeah, in the same way we have the close your eyes special in the NFL, Arkansas underperformed the spread and looked really bad, and they were kind of like a public dog. Everyone thought they would be able to hang with Georgia. The case for them getting up for the game certainly is there. Colby, what are you leaning here?
I'm going to ride the Razorbacks, but that's an idiotic statement to say Cincinnati couldn't have a winning record in the SEC East. SEC East might be the worst division in all of football, of Power 5.
And my point really is more just, I don't understand. Like, you lose a game to a team really badly, it shouldn't be a positive for you.
No,
just because they're good. Like, it shouldn't turn into a positive.
And let's be honest. I know Arkansas and Ole Miss reside in the SEC West, but I don't know how good these teams are. When you look at Louisville's not good. So that win, yes, that was an impressive win, but they're not a good football team. Austin Peay just lost to Eastern Kentucky in the FCS. Okay, so I'm not buying into that win. Tulane just gave up like 50 points to East Carolina. Where's the impressive wins from? Okay, now you could say Arkansas. Well, Arkansas beat Texas. I agree. That was an impressive win. However, Texas was starting a freshman quarterback, second game for Sark. They've completely changed ever since they went to the veteran Casey Thompson. Arkansas was losing to Rice in I think the fourth quarter, get week 1. Now I have been impressed with Arkansas, but that A&M win doesn't really mean much to me. I know it means something for the Arkansas fans because they hadn't beaten A&M since joining the SEC, or since A&M joined the SEC. So I still think both teams have huge question marks, and I'm not ready to crown them at all. But give me Arkansas last year, guys.
You want to crown them? Crown them.
Yeah. This is concerning though. Is with our Corral ticket? Is he threw 6 picks against Arkansas last year?
I remember that game.
Barry Odom is a great defensive coordinator, so that's a dangerous spot for him. I'm going to take the points.
But that to me is why, and I think this is a get right game for Ole Miss. I've liked overall what I've seen out of Ole Miss. I think Lane realizes, kind of sounded like an asshole saying, "Get your popcorn ready," and then gets kind of destroyed there by Alabama. I think this is a get right game. I think he's invested in Matt Corral's Heisman candidacy.
It's true,
and I think he realizes this is all the boosters that had Ole Miss plus 14 and a half. He's got to get them their money back. Time to chase. I think Ole Miss turns it on late. I think it's like a 10-point game, and they're still throwing the ball and end up like winning by 17. So I like Ole Miss to roll here. I think at some point getting your ass kicked that bad, it's going to be tough to get up and go on the road. Like if Arkansas was at home after a tough loss like that, I think it's a little easier to get them up. But I think Ole Miss will be ready to play come Saturday here.
Good luck, Sean.
Speaking of the Georgia Dogs, laying 14.5 as they go on the road, square off against Auburn in Auburn, Alabama. Georgia 14.5 point favorites. Auburn plus 450 on the money line. Oh, man, I was trying to figure out, is this a potential look ahead spot for Georgia? I don't think so. Like I get they're going on the road, but man, I don't know. Is there any matchup where Auburn makes this a game, Colby?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm on Auburn. I think Gus Malzahn's not there, guys. Brian Harsin, as much as I thought it could have been a lateral move. I do believe there's value in him coaching. There's less gimmicks. And I know Georgia's owned this rivalry lately. However, 14.5 points, a lot of points. And to be honest, I know Georgia looks great, but you could say, well, hey, Clemson, that they didn't even score an offensive touchdown against Clemson. Clemson looks like dog shit. Then you go, well, UAB, look what happened to UAB against Liberty last week. And then, like I said, with Arkansas. So South Carolina's got one of the worst offenses. I don't know if that win means anything. Vanderbilt just needed the last second field goal to beat UConn. So I don't want to take anything away from Georgia. They look great, but at the same time, you could also say, who have they beaten? So I'm going to take the 14.5 in Auburn because it's Brian Harsin's first game. They've been owned in this rivalry lately. This is a great, even if they lose close, I think fans will be happy with this because Georgia has been blowing them out under Malzahn.
This also, I mean, you could make the argument that this is not a super important game for Georgia compared to the Kentucky and Florida games on the horizon. So there is that element. I think the other side of it though is like, I would ask you, Colby, is Auburn better than Arkansas?
Yes, I think they could be. Yes.
Because to me, they're about the same. And so I'm already like, well, wow, Georgia just whooped the shit out of Arkansas. I understand this is on the road. It is a day game though. I still think Georgia just absolutely is on a murderous path. The 14.5, just like last week with Bama, they're begging you to take the 14.5 with Auburn square sharp. I'm laying the points with Georgia, who even more impressively than Bama, since if you throw out week 1, they've only had 22 snaps where they've been tied 0 behind. This team is dominant. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Last thing I'll say, Nix, the quarterback, that guy is an absolute firecracker. He's Josh Allen before he became great. And I think when you're that kind of quarterback against a defense like Georgia, that equals pick 6, and pick 6 equals cover 14.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you and take the Dogs here. I just haven't seen anything out of Georgia that would lead me not to take them. I get the situation. I get Auburn, isn't the biggest matchup, but I think Georgia can just control a game and just really beat the shit out of teams, impose their will. And again, they barely even need to throw the ball, and they put up 37 points. Like, it's old school. You're going to have 5 guys with 75 yards each rushing the ball. And I just don't know if Auburn can hang.
it's going to need to be defensive touchdowns, special teams. Like there's going to need to be something crazy. And if this was a night game, maybe you can talk me into it, but
playing in the afternoon, Georgia, they'll get up for this. They'll roll. This should be a great game. Penn State heads to Iowa City, Iowa. Iowa laying 2.5 -130 on the money line. Penn State +110. I think this was at 3 at some point. The line has moved to Iowa -2.5. Tough place to play in Iowa. Colby, what are we doing here?
Dude, you don't. Yeah, I mean, I understand Penn State. Well, last time they played here, I think they won on the final play of the game on a pass in the back of the end zone. However, not often do teams come in highly ranked to Iowa City and win. I'm on Iowa, man. I know the style of football isn't what the TMZ fans want these days, but hey, they kick ass and they got a great defense and a great ground game, and they don't make turnovers. Spencer Petras, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's on the season. So give me Iowa. I'm not going to fade Iowa in Iowa City against a top 10 team ever. It could be Alabama, and I would take Iowa.
I mean, just on principle, they're probably a 3.5 point home team, if not 4.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, you're telling me you think
I will
Penn
also
State,
get an extra rest too.
You're telling me you think Penn State's a better team. I also think you look at this Iowa schedule, and this is the game. Like, this is the big hurdle. If they get past this, it's Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, and Illinois. Almost certainly they're locked up to win that side. They're going to be in the Big Ten championship game. This is the game before. This is the only game that matters. And I think they're obviously taking big bets, I guess.
I mean,
on the Iowa or on the Penn State side, which is why it's come down. I think it's just, you haven't watched college football. That's my angle on this.
Yeah, Penn State undefeated, and this just feels like a time. This just feels like the game where it's going to unravel. But the line movement is scary to me. At -2.5, the sportsbook is telling you, Ryan, take Iowa.
It is.
Take Iowa -130, and you're right as far as the remaining schedule. I think Penn State. Now, granted, it's not the next week, but I think in their head, they're already looking ahead a little bit. Or to them, the season I think revolves around, can they get a win in Ohio, and maybe not taking Iowa as seriously as they should be. I mean, Iowa's ranked 3rd in the country, man, and it's an early kick. Yeah,
I kind of like it. I mean, I think that adds to the home field in a weird way, that it is an early kick. This defense just fine. Like I understand, like you would have the nerdy, like the regression on the turnovers and all that good stuff, but sometimes teams just know how to do it. And are we really sure that Clifford and Penn State are ready to not turn the ball over here on the road in a big spot? So yeah, I mean, last thing I'll say, similar to how I said the Georgia game, maybe they have bigger games down the road. Unlike Iowa, where this is really the last big test, Penn State still has all of their interdivisional tests: Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State. So if anything, I understand it's a huge game. They're obviously going to be up for it, but this isn't the most important game on their schedule.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was trying to get to with them, with Ohio State really being their most important game in a way. Obviously, if they go in to win and beat Ohio or Iowa, that'll be massive for them. Oh man, but the line movement scares me. I'm gonna get cute and take Penn State +2.5, even though winning in Iowa is brutal. But I got a feeling this is the year for Penn State. I don't know. Don't bet Penn State because I said it. That's my advice to you. But my real advice though is, if you're losing your hair, you gotta keep it with Keeps. That's right, low cost treatment starting at just $10 per month. Discreet packaging, proven results, more 5 stars than any other of its competitors. They got so many 5 stars, they're calling it the Alabama of hair treatment. You're welcome, Keeps. Prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/SGP to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/SGP to get your first month free. KEEPS.com/SGP. We're talking about helping you out. We're also talking about saving you cash with Mint Mobile. That's right. You want premium wireless for only $15 a month, and you got to check out Mint Mobile. Unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, and you can continue using your own phone, keep your own phone number. Very easy to make the switch, and if you're not satisfied, 7-day, 100% money back guarantee. Let's go to mintmobile.com/sports-SGP. mintmobile.com/sports-SGP. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. mintmobile.com/sports-SGP. Colby, I got to know, you're driving across country, going on this long trip. Have you been using GPS navigating yourself across the country?
And it's horrible still. I've been using it today. Once again, fails me again, guys. You know, I should have just trusted the signs. You know what I mean?
Trust the signs.
Honestly,
signs. It's like handicapping college football, guys. I know you guys aren't on my level yet, but you know, you got to just watch.
You're old school.
Trust what you see. You know what I mean?
One of those Rand McNally Atlas maps, just busted.
Thomas guide.
You got the Iowa map, honey.
I'm looking in the C4 grid. I'm seeing an interchange up here.
Oh wait, no, we're in Nebraska. Pull out the Nebraska one.
All right.
If you're not using clicks, you're not really driving, right?
Speaking of Nebraska at home, coming off that big win against Northwestern, 3-point home dogs against Michigan. Michigan -160, Nebraska +140 on the money line. Man, this you could make a pretty strong case for either here. Colby, what are you doing?
Look, man, why change horses midstream? Nebraska guys, I don't know if you guys caught that game. I was there live. they are legit. And like the special teams cost them some games early in the year. They're going to be a thorn in the side of some of these Big Ten schools. And it starts with Michigan Saturday, because that place is going to be lit. And kudos to Adrian Martinez, broken jaw and all playing. Oh, come on. That's a football player, guys. Let's play football. Give me Nebraska +3 at home. Sprinkle some on the money line.
Nebraska is
let's play football.
Nebraska is one of the best in the nation covering spreads. 5-1. Bowling Green is actually 5-0. They're the best right now, which is pretty funny. Kramer, what's your handicap on this Nebraska Michigan game? Because it seems like a game Michigan would blow, but then also I'm a little nervous about taking Nebraska. Again, it was Northwestern, but still, I feel like I got to see them piece together a couple wins before I buy back into Nebraska.
My take on and I know we just picked a Big Ten game, and I didn't say that for that game, but my confidence level on these Big Ten teams week to week, I have no read on it. I hate that Colby keeps throwing these extra Big Ten games on the sheet. Yeah, Michigan is the better team. Michigan's clearly outperforming all the preseason prognostications, but the number is short. This is trap. Like, I'm just going back to my gambling instincts here.
Yeah,
this is a trap number. There again. Why is Michigan only 3? Scott Frost, is he a superior coach to Harbaugh? All of a sudden,
only one coach there has a national championship, and that's Scott Frost.
Bingo, bang. Yeah, I'm going to be contrarian. Michigan getting heavy action. Let's go. And I'm fading Harbaugh. Come on, you know I'm not gonna take Harbaugh.
Gun to my head, I gotta fade Harbaugh. I mean, even though the Graham Mertz auto fade trumped that last week, it feels like a massive letdown spot for Michigan. These are two teams that love to disappoint, and I think Michigan laying an egg in Lincoln is something that we could see come Saturday. Speaking of laying an egg, Notre Dame, Cincinnati took care of them, struggled on offense, not looking great. Now they go on the road again. Kramer, you brought up the point. Their schedule is kind of brutal. They're playing all these teams coming off a bye. Virginia Tech at home. They're coming off a bye. +1 is the spread for Virginia Tech, +100 on the money line. I'll let you go. I'll let you start, Kramer. How do you feel about your Hokies coming out of the bye, going up against Notre Dame?
Yeah. So just the Wisconsin, Cincy, now Virginia Tech. They still have USC and UNC coming up, both coming off byes. I mean, I don't think this is the spot you want to be in if you're Notre Dame. You just lost the game to a team that they I don't think it was a super close game. Cincinnati took care of business on the road. Notre Dame, just seeing the crowd filled with all that red, kind of was like, whoa, like this is supposed to be a special place for college football. and you're telling me you let all these Cincinnati fans roll up in here? Like that's not respectful. You're having a party. They're not even taking their shoe. It's just a mess.
There was a pretty funny meme that made its way around of Rudy, and he's wearing that Letterman jacket, and it has the Cincinnati logo on it. It's even as an Irish fan, I had to chuckle.
But that aside, are we even sure? Like, I understand there's questions about what this Virginia Tech team is, but are we really sure that Notre Dame should be favored at night in Lane Stadium? Like, do you remember when Lane Stadium broke the internet a couple weeks ago? That wasn't even nighttime. This is a night game. This is a night game on Saturday. It's going to be extra lit. Virginia Tech, we can still win the fucking conference. Clemson's down. UNC down. Like there is hope. And even though Fuente has been a bag of dicks the last couple games, again, this is the kind of spot he will have the team ready. The crowd will aid them early. And again, I think the defense takes care of business. This Notre Dame team is giving the ball away. Ball hawking defensive backs for Virginia Tech. Pass rush gets home. Virginia Tech wins in a surprising rout. I'm calling for it.
Wow.
This is a disrespectful number. Wrong team favored by them. Honestly, do we not remember when Lane Stadium broke the internet a couple weeks ago? It did. What are we doing?
Broke the internet.
Why is Notre Dame laying a point? They won a game against the mid-major. Big deal. Which, by the way, I locked it up. Cincy, let's go. That was for you, Colby.
Colby, what are we doing here? Notre Dame, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. What's the handicap here?
I mean, I've been calling for the past 8 months Virginia Tech to win this game. Now, I was anticipating Notre Dame to win the week prior, so that's a little tricky there. But you know what, man? It's a home stadium. It's 2021. Fans weren't there for a while, so give me. I'll ride with real money Kramer there. Give me the Hokies. I think it's a tough handicap, but give me the Hokies to get it done.
Felt like a pity pick.
Yeah, there's no pity here. Virginia Tech knows how, much like Michigan, Virginia Tech knows how to disappoint in big spots. Give me the Fighting Irish bounce back game. Start Drew Pine. Also, by the way, Drew Brees, pretty annoying announcer. Man, I don't know what it is. I just not on team Drew Brees.
That he's being pushed as an actual betting representative when he's clearly never made a bet in his life, or two, that he like, oh yeah, you know what, Drew, just pop on a TV with some new hair and everything, and no one will notice, and it'll just be totally cool. Like he needs to go right now.
Yeah,
guys,
very.
There's no difference between Jeff Garcia and Drew Brees. Hate to tell you guys that.
Wow, the hot takes continue.
Sean Payton, yeah, that's just Sean Payton dressing it up.
All right, last game of the slate. LSU heads to Lexington, Kentucky. Kentucky laying 3. LSU plus 135. Total sitting at 52. For me, this handicap's easy. I'm taking LSU all day. Kentucky, very fortunate, I think, in a lot of ways to get that win against Florida. Huge letdown opportunity for them, and LSU is going to get up for this game. I don't know. I don't like LSU overall, and I was on their under for the win total, but I think this spot is where LSU shines. Kentucky's smelling themselves a little bit. Give me LSU plus 3. We tag us. Colby, are you a tagger this week?
No, I am not. First off, I hope you listened to the college football experience last week, because I said take Kentucky and take them on the money line.
Oh, lucky.
Now I think, yeah, it is a tricky spot, but I just don't think LSU is any good. I think the LSU got very fortunate to beat Mississippi State. So I'm going to just say Kentucky gets this thing done. Give me a 21-17 final. Kentucky gets it done. LSU's look, I'm sorry. I like Coach O. I don't know if he's coaching there next year.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't disagree.
Wow.
To me, this is less about backing this LSU team and more just this is the perfect spot for me to fade Kentucky.
No one's even brought it up. Who do they have next week?
Who?
Georgia.
Kentucky?
Georgia at home or on the road. I'm sorry. Between the hedges.
Yeah,
Obviously,
gotta love that SEC scheduling, giving you Florida, LSU, and Georgia in a row. They would never do that for Bama or Florida.
Look, remember, we brought this up preseason. He only needs to win 7 games to get that auto extension. He's already to 5. The Georgia game is much more meaningful if he somehow takes down Georgia in the driver's seat in the SEC East. This LSU game means nothing. Take Kentucky. No, take LSU. Let's go. We Tigers.
LSU +3. We Tigers. All right, now time for the Lock Dog Tease and bonus lock brought to you by PrizePicks.com. Make sure you head over to PrizePicks.com. Get in on the DFS action. Get some of those player prop over under a 3-team entry. $20 will pay you $100. Colby's got a whole episode of college football DFS. Check that out on the College Football Experience. Kramer and I will be giving out our DFS picks for the week on our DFS picks podcast. Of course, gave out some Monday night DFS stuff already, and then we get a Thursday night. We're loading you up on the picks over at PrizePicks.com, and stay tuned after the lock dog and tease. Got a bonus interview as well. So much content. Kramer, I'll let you start. What do you got?
Oh, thank you, Sean. Well, this feels dangerous because I think I mean, first of all, here was my process this week. I completely ignored all the 6-pack games for locking purposes.
Smart.
Just out of principle. I then looked down the board, and on one hand, I am looking at this Georgia team. I don't know how they don't cover this number, but I get it. It's on the road. So I am going to lock up Oklahoma. Sark doesn't get it done in the big game. I'm completely fine. I like betting on a team that can stop the run. Let's see what this Texas team can do without Robinson running the ball wild. For my dog, I don't have a lot of dogs that are big, fun, juicy dogs. But honestly, why is Wisconsin laying so many points, Sean?
I don't know. I've seen Graham Mertz. They still plan on starting.
You know what? I don't want to take that one. Give me Arkansas. I think they are a live dog because I think they can limit this offense.
Okay.
Make it an interesting game.
Arkansas plus 200.
Plus 200. And for my tease, which by the way, I have not hit a single tease yet. So buyer beware. Give me Texas Tech plus 7.5.
Okay.
I did take a 6-pack one there. Give me Georgia minus 8.5.
Okay.
And give me, I'm going to swing it around here. Give me Iowa plus 3.5.
Ooh, Ryan, teasing across.
It's college. Baby.
0. What about your bonus lock?
I'm getting loose. Well, I'm going to take you to I think going to be a look ahead spot here. Coastal Carolina heads to Arkansas State. They have App State on deck. I think that game means something to them. They're going to be a little sleepy. Give me Arkansas State plus the 20.
All right.
That was for you, Colby.
Like it. Arkansas State plus 20. All right. Kind of some interesting options here.
Every week there are.
I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm going against you guys. I really think this is a Ole Miss spot. Give me Ole Miss minus 6.5. This is when the lane train gets right. For my dog, Kentucky, it's just a perfect letdown opportunity for them. Give me Coach O and the LSU Tigers plus 135 on the money line for my tease. Good week to get involved in some of these teases. I will throw Penn State up to 8.5. I will do Nebraska up to 9.
Dude, look at all these value numbers you're crossing.
And then Georgia minus 8.5. My bonus lock, BYU against Boise State. They have some issues at quarterback, but they're so good at home. They got Boise State. They're going to roll. So give me BYU minus 5. Colby, what do you got for the D-Gens?
Well, let's lock up the Tide, Crimson Tide, man. I mean, come on. Jimbo Fisher talks shit to him. Yeah, what happened?
You're right.
What happened with LSU last year after Coach O when they had Burrow in 2019? They went down there and said in Tuscaloosa, "This is our house." Well, dude, we all took Bama last year in Baton Rouge, and boy, did they not disappoint. It's going to happen again here in College Station. Lay the 17.5. They're trying to bait you into 17.5. I don't even think Texas A&M, they might not score a touchdown all game. So give me Bama minus 17.5 as the lock. The dog, it's the team that's stats do not represent its record right now, and that is the Navy midshipman plus 410. Plus 410. Let's not forget SMU needed a Hail Mary to beat La Tech 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So give me Navy, Indianapolis plus 410. And tease wise, let's just do let's bring Bama down to 11.5. Let's do Wisconsin down to 3.5. And let's do Iowa plus 3.5.
So Wisconsin down to 3.5. And what was the last one?
Iowa plus 3.5.
Oh, taking.
Well, Colby is the tease god, so I like that he's also on the flip around Iowa plus 3.5.
Yeah, Wisconsin minus 3.5. That's interesting. Maybe they can cover that. They can't cover 9.5. That I know. What about your bonus lock, Colby?
Bonus lock here, and I'm gonna fire away on. Did you guys see Georgia Southern? They got rid of their head coach, but you see their offensive lineman was on top of a bus chugging a beer.
Yes,
that was
absolutely
awesome.
Fantastic. And then I went out and locked Georgia Southern last week, and they dropped 59 on Kramer's Arkansas State squad. Well, look, they're getting 4.5 against Troy. Let's take Georgia Southern and add on to a Norm special. Take Georgia Southern on the money line plus 165. Parlay that with Wyoming plus 170 against Air Force. Have fun, gentlemen.
So your Norm play is Georgia Southern money line parlayed with Wyoming money line. Parlayed with Air Force money line. Is that correct?
No. Wyoming's playing Air Force.
Okay.
So I'm taking.
You can't fade Air Force. For my Norm DGen play, give me Illinois money line parlayed with Nebraska money line, and that should that's going to pay you pretty good there. 9.5 and a 3-point dog outright. Kramer, you want to throw out a DGen Norm play?
Don't you just like take a home equity loan on your house and parlay Bama and Georgia on the money line this week?
Yeah, but that's not.
That's my mega lock play of the day.
Okay.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
That's not. We're trying to give out long shots here at the end.
I mean, if you want to have some fun, I think you just fade. Look, there's 3 situations this week that make no sense to me. Give me Iowa minus 2.5 parlayed with Arkansas plus 6.5. Might even grab the 7 if I'm parlaying. And then the last leg again, LSU. I like the way that you played it on the money line. I'll throw that on the money line into this parlay.
So Iowa minus 2.5, Arkansas plus 6.5 or 7, and LSU money line.
Hey, you want to feed that donkey some beer? Get it all messed up?
All right, make sure you check out Colby Dant and the College Football Experience. Joining us on the line, he is the host of the Blue Wire podcast, officially unofficial, Johnny Guinta. Johnny, thanks for calling into the show.
I'll be honest with you guys, fellas. It's an honor. It's a privilege. Massive fan of the show. You guys are electric. I feel like I'm electric. It's a great tandem going on here. I'm fired up for it.
You can feel the electricity in the studio. Johnny is of course calling in remote, and well, a little bit of background about you before we talk a little college football, talking picks, talking strategy. Now, I know your angle on the officially unofficial podcast is that you are a former college athlete and you're using that in your, I assume, handicap and picking to the games on the show. Is that kind of the hook there?
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, kind of that. One of the biggest things is I used to give picks on the show, fade me, get rich, but it was a very weird option because I was doing fade me, get rich, but for some reason my picks were hitting. So people that were fading me, they weren't getting rich. So I had to kind of cancel the whole situation going on there. Don't know what went on, but I might start going back into it. But that's what I take into it. I take into that. I get roasted a lot for this. I take in the do strategy. It's terrible strategy, but that's strategy that I take in.
What now explain that strategy.
So this is absurd, but for instance, this weekend, I'm a big Michigan fan. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking about a letdown spot here. They're going to Nebraska on Saturday. I'm just mentally preparing for what might happen. The line's 3. Some people know something I don't. Michigan's due for a loss. I'm not going to bet it, but that's the due strategy. They're due for a letdown spot. That's what I think.
Well, and that I feel like that's what I've leaned into handicapping wise. It just in college sports in general, whether it's basketball or football, is I think it's of the major sports, it's the easiest to identify spots for letdowns and spots where clearly this X team's going to get up. It's their homecoming. It's a rivalry game. They're a home dog at night.
The pendulum swings hardest in college football.
Yeah.
And I think once we get into this part of the schedule, you start to identify those situational spots whether it be a look ahead or whatever, where you end up starting to do this thing where you bet on a team one week and you bet against them the next week just to bet on them again the third week. So I kind of like calling that the do strat.
The do.
The do. Well, and listen, and it screwed me over last week because I bet against Texas. I just know we've had friends of the show that played baseball at the University of Texas. I know I've seen the letdowns they've had. They've covered back-to-back weeks. So this week, what am I doing? And this is my pick. And you guys wanted to pick this week, Texas over Oklahoma. That's my pick this week. I'm done fading Texas. Casey Thompson is not a fraud. This guy's a freak. And every time I'm watching the games that I bet against them, I feel like I have minimal brain cells. So I'm done. I'm riding the Texas Longhorns this week. But that's my strategy here, man. I mean, I don't really go too much logically into it. And you saw it yesterday. You guys obviously, I don't know if you guys had the who was it? If you guys had the Chiefs, I sooner than later they were going to cover. They're due.
Yes, they were due.
That -7 was looking awfully tasty. I didn't touch it, but that's the do strategy.
It did feel a bit like a trap.
Kind of like my Giants. They were due. Easy money, baby. The Jets, they were due. The
Jets were seriously due. And Ryan, of course, he gave out Jets Giants money line parlay. So if you're not listening to the NFL show, you're missing out. And yeah, Oklahoma right now 3-point road favorite for the Red River shootout in Dallas, neutral field there against Texas. But yeah, I mean that's so. Do you like Texas to win outright, or you're just taking them in the points?
I'm going to take the points. I might sprinkle outright. I'm a degenerate. Like yesterday.
#Legends only.
It screwed me over. I had the Bucks team total yesterday.
Yep.
First half.
No.
-7.
Oh, no.
It was a nightmare. I mean, I got rinsed. So we're trying to, and I'm actually riding with one of your picks today. I actually love it because a big piece of the Chargers defense is out, not covering Darren Waller. Listen to me. People listen to this. Obviously, I'm assuming it's going to come out after tonight.
Yes.
Darren Waller over 6 catches. Cash it. I have Darren Waller over 6. I have over receptions. I have anytime touchdown. I have 2 touchdowns. I'm all in on Darren Waller. So this is, I mean, I'm going to be eating water for the rest of the week if this doesn't.
You're making me nervous. I also, hopefully we can get back in the time machine.
We got Darren Waller in our fantasy. So yeah, obviously everyone will be listening to this and be thinking, wow, those guys really know what they're talking about. They just cash.
Yeah.
Super sharp. So now I know you're also a big baseball guy, and that you hit on that a bunch on your show, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. I mean, and obviously I want everyone to tweet at me thoughts and prayers because the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. I've been to 13 games this year. I'm dialed in on the Blue Jays. They're my favorite team. I borderline cried yesterday. I was depressed.
Oh no.
And the Washington Nationals, and I just want to say this, put this on the airwaves, are poverty franchise. They're dead to me. I will never root for the Nationals again. But this is, I mean, baseball's my thing. And out of pity tomorrow, I'm betting against the Boston Red Sox, and the Yankees are to play tomorrow, even though I hate the Yankees so much. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a tough day for me. It's very emotional seeing Twitter, all the tribute videos, but we move forward, right, fellas?
Yep. Yeah. You gotta, like Ryan always says, there's a reason the rear view is smaller than the windshield. You got to put those losses behind you.
Yeah. What are you trying to get into a fender bender? Come on, look forward. Let's go. And it feels so good to see the passion from someone else. As a former baseball fan myself, to see the passion coming out here,
you can tell he's
talking about baseball. I don't have it anymore. Even as a Yankees fan, like, yeah, fuck the Red Sox, but cool. Maybe they're in the playoffs. Cool.
Yeah, no, you're right on that, man. And I got to ask you, you're obviously a very passionate Giants fan, and I could be completely wrong on this. I'm all in on Daniel Jones. Yesterday he looked unbelievable.
Danny Dimes.
I don't know if you roast him on the show. I don't know if you come at him. But I think this guy is absolutely electric. You never know what you're going to get with this dude. He's a wild card. I love Danny Dimes. And yesterday he sold me. I'm all in. I might have to buy Danny Dime shirts now. I don't know.
They finally let Danny Dime. Thank you for bringing it up. And since you are a guest, I'll introduce you to the Danny Dime turnover totem here. Since we debuted this on the show, he's only had that bullshit Hail Mary interception. I love Danny Dimes too. He is not the problem in New York. Sean's getting uncomfortable here because, of course, his Eagles.
I'm rattled by your 1-3 start.
His Eagles in the pit of misery.
No, you guys still suck, dude. I'm not worried about the Giants.
We'll save it for the NFL show. But anytime you're tweeting out draft pick graphics, I know it's.
I didn't tweet out.
You're excited about the draft. Anyway.
No, I mean,
anyway, we don't have to get into it.
Okay.
I mean, the Eagles, and here's a little positive for you because I'm not really the most positive guy, but I'll give you a positive end. Jalen Hurts didn't look too bad yesterday, man.
No,
I mean,
Jalen Hurts isn't the problem. I mean, yeah, you let up 40-point games back to back. It doesn't matter what your offense does. You're not going to win football games in the National Football League right now. Jonathan Gannon is the issue.
What do you think the parlay that Danny Dimes and Jalen Hurts wouldn't be the problem would pay out this year? Because Jesus Christ,
didn't see that coming. Now, what about you? What's your? I always crowbar in mentions of me hitting second place in the DraftKings Millie Maker. No big deal. But have you ever had a great run gambling? What's kind of your?
Ever?
Yeah. What?
I
Drop
chase
it on
all
us.
the time. And I chase it all the time. And this is when you know you're hot. I was in my backyard during the lockdown because obviously we can't go to the gyms. This is a crazy story. I was working out and I just look at the soccer parlay and I see a tie game plus 10,000 or plus 1,000. I put 50 on it, put my phone in my pocket. I get an update, goal scored, and then it hit. Obviously, I think the payout was like 500. Is that correct? Yeah, plus 1,500. And I just keep winning bets from here on out. I turned it into like 1,600, 1,700, and I thought I was the smartest human being on the planet. Like I would do no run first innings. That's the best bet on the planet, by the way, in baseball. No run first inning. And there'd be bases loaded, no outs, and they would get out of it. Like that's how much of a heater it was for me. I couldn't believe it. Like when you're on those type of heaters, some may say it's a problem because you just continue to try to chase that shit and you'll never get it again.
Well, that's the feeling we're all looking for. And it's funny you bring up those types of bets because my one and only, or my three and only bets on the baseball season this year were some first five unders. I took two, like basically a first five under, and then I took each team individually first five under. And by the end of the first inning, all the bets were cooked.
It was pretty hilarious. We turned on the game, and I think it was first guy up solo shot to start the game. It was pretty hilarious.
Oh man!
Now what?
The worst for that is Vladdy. I used to bet no run first innings in Jays games, and I would see this shit live. It would be 2 strikes on Vladdy. He's the third hitter. Nuke to deep center, and I'm in my seat melting. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, no, it's no runs first inning. I'm not a massive baseball gambler or barely really get down on baseball, but when I do, that is a fun. It's like it's just that instant sweat. It's
like
really
first
great.
Touchdown. If you don't want to get involved in the whole game,
if you don't want to have to watch an entire baseball game, but you want the action of a base of. It's like just a degenerate. It's like a first quarter team total.
Don't have to sell me.
Super degenerate. Now, Johnny, what about any like kind of overall? I like the it's due strategy. Anything else you like to work in when you're handicapping college football?
Well, I follow, and this is a very strict rule that I follow. All right, and I followed this a couple weeks ago. It's kind of like another network does this. If a mascot dies or a coach dies, you take the team the next game. And this worked. And people forget about this. The Florida State, again, the only game they look good all year. One of the most poverty football programs in the nation right now. Just embarrassment. I
like your slur of poverty. Yeah. I like calling teams poverty. That's a good.
That's just it's a good dig. It's the most degrading thing ever. And when you say that to them, it's just they don't even recover. But the Florida State Seminoles, they were doing a tribute to their coach that passed away this year, legendary coach. I'm blanking.
Bobby Bowden.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden against Notre Dame, and they cover, almost win outright. Maybe the easiest bet of my life. It's just the dead coach. The coach dies. You have a ceremony for him. The boys are buzzing. The boys are getting going on the field. And that's it. I mean, those are the most electric things on the planet. Dead mascot, anything like that. If a team hasn't covered in a while, like the Chiefs did, you obviously always take them the next game. And if it's the Clemson Tigers this year, you always bet against them. It's just they've been
horrible against the spread.
Using the Chiefs strategy on the Clemson Tigers this year would have paid out poorly. Just keep. I'm gonna hit blackjack this time. It's like, God, another fucking 20.
Well, they've just been one of those teams that just have been super inflated by the public, and they still think it's that same Clemson team. You got to wake up, realize it's not. They just aren't the same. So you are now. Correct me if I'm wrong. You like Texas +3.
Yes.
And
in the Red River
shootout
rivalry. We can't call it a shootout,
right? I think you can't say shootout now. I'm not sure.
Can't say shootout.
And also on the money line, anything else jump out at you on this college football Saturday coming up?
Well, I mentioned it, and obviously this literally breaks my heart. Nebraska has to be the play. And I'm a big Michigan guy. I'm one of the biggest, I'm a massive Michigan guy actually. And just something about that line being -3 is just very, very fishy. I feel like the public's going to put a shit ton of money on Michigan. And the fact that I went to school in Nebraska and I talk openly shit about the state of Nebraska and how much their football team's terrible, they're going to absolutely come back to melt and they're going to win outright. So I'm very scared about that. But I mean, there's a massive, this is a great slate this weekend, man. I mean, you got Arkansas, Ole Miss, Michigan. I mean, Michigan, Nebraska, not the greatest one, but Georgia, Auburn, Alabama. I mean, Alabama A&M. It's going to be a good weekend, man. But I'm looking forward to losing a shit ton of money.
You haven't even mentioned UMass UConn. That
true. The toilet bowl. Did you guys see that this weekend? The Vanderbilt versus UConn tickets were selling for $1.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah, and $1. The problem is the fees would probably still be like $10.
You got to get me you got to get me some food or something to get me in the building there. And to back your point, Michigan currently getting 83% of the dollars. So
it is a little scary. I mean, and Nebraska's in this weird space where they're like kind of good enough. They blew out Northwestern. This feels like a massive letdown spot for Nebraska as well, because they just had this big win over Northwestern. I could see them coming out super flat. But then, Michigan, same type of thing. Michigan just had a really nice victory over Wisconsin. Now they go on the road as a road favorite. I mean, I want to fade both these teams this week.
Yeah. And if
you might have to.
And if you just pull up a map, it doesn't take a high level of understanding of geography to see that this isn't this is a decent road trip. This is it's not quite Rutgers for Michigan, but it's almost that far. So sneaky road trip.
Yeah,
it scares me. And honestly, if Michigan loses, this legitimately might be the worst week of my life. And you know what? People don't even realize.
So wait, now a little bit about your background. You went to Nebraska, but you're a big Michigan fan. And then where do you live? You currently live in Toronto, right?
Yeah. So I went to school. I actually respect you thinking that I'm athletic enough to go to Nebraska. I'm just gonna run away.
I was trying to wrap everything around here. I'm like, I'm looking in the Zoom. I don't know.
I went to community college in Nebraska, McCook Community College, population 1,500. I'm not going to knock the school. Whatever. I went to school there, hit below my body weight, one of the greatest fall hitters in the nation. That's why they call me the Fall American. Didn't get an offer after my 2 years. So now I'm in Toronto, just grinding out the Unofficial podcast, doing well with that, and just going to Jays games and being a degenerate, just sweating out college football Saturday.
Hell yeah.
And hopefully, by the way, guys, we're getting close to MAC during the week. We're getting into good territory.
What week does MACtion start? I feel like I've been come on, let's go MACtion.
I believe it's the first week in November. If someone might fact check me on that, but I believe it's the first week of November, and those are the greatest days of the week where you have players throwing balls off each other's asses. We got fumbles, field goals, return for touchdowns. It's the greatest time of the year. It really is.
Dude, MACtion cannot wait till that happens. All right, Johnny. Thanks for calling in. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter. Throw out your Twitter handle, and of course, make sure you check out the officially unofficial podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever great podcasts are found.
And I appreciate you guys.
And what's your handle again? Sorry.
So Unofficial pod on Twitter. And Johnny Giunta 47 on Twitter. I might change the name. I don't know. And by the way, guys, I might just leave my Mondays open. If we can make this a weekly thing, I mean, this honestly makes my week substantially better. I wake up at 6 a.m. It gives me something to look forward to. You give me the call there, I'll be here 10 times out of 10. Doesn't matter. I'll sacrifice my life. Birth of a child, I'll be here.
Wow. Right. Compelling offer.
I am a youth.
Colby's on the road.
I am a youth soccer
People coming
coach.
for his spot here.
Always trying to pick up new talent.
All right. Well, appreciate it, Johnny, and best of luck with the pod.
Easy, fellas. Have a good one.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Make sure you check out us on Apple Podcasts. Leave a nice rating and review. Give us a follow on Twitter at Gambling Podcast. And again, that rating and review on Apple Podcasts, your chance to win free merch every Monday, aka Merch Monday. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Go Hokies.
Crank. Let it